10 years back on YouTube, it was the Wild Wild West for XJWs. It was a new venue, a new platform where we could actually connect and convince each other that we weren't absolutely insane. So there was very few people. There was probably like, I don't know, a couple dozen of us making YouTube videos. I know JW Ferry was one of the beginning, Mark and Cora, Mike and Kim, me, Dolly Wally, Joel. But it was a tight little community. And then this piece of shit named John Cedars at that time decided to come in and divide and conquer. And we detected back then that what he was trying to do was he was trying to create basically his own cult, okay? He was going to try to make money off of this. When we were just doing it out of the goodness of our soul, we're trying to sit there and try to tell other people, you're not crazy. This is why we make videos. But that man wanted to make some money off of it. So what he did was he convinced people that you don't need to give your money to Watchtower. You give your money to me. Okay, and I called him out. I made a video 8 years ago. Mike and Kim and me were the ones that first started sounding the alarm on this guy, right? We're like, oh, he's gonna make a business out of this, right? His little grifting, his little tin cup. Okay, so me and him fucking went back and forth on all the, I called him out on it, and he's like, oh, you don't listen to Tony. Don't listen to Mike and Kim. Give me money, okay? And then what happens is you get people that are leaving the cult, and they so desperately want something else to believe in, and he says, no, you follow me. So they transfer their money from donating to the Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses to the Congregation of John Cedars. Patreon, bam, 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 bam. Last week, so I got off YouTube 7 years ago. I was done with this shit. And he makes a video begging for money. He says, after his last year, and I took great delight. I was in Puerto Rico on vacation when I found out about this. I got blown up on the phone. People say, oh, look, dude, he's getting in trouble because he's going to prostitutes. He's using all his money and cheating on the wife, using his Patreon money to fuck girls in Thailand, because I'm sure they're all overage. And so he gets this massive drop, continues to decline. And then I was loving it because it used to be there was just a couple of us that were sounding the alarm on him years ago. But then after that went down, I saw so many people were making videos like, oh my God, do you not know who this guy is? I'm like, okay, I can let this go and let everybody else fucking take care of the course. And then he does his begging video like 2 weeks ago. He does this sad face in front of some picturesque fucking thing. He says, oh, do you not know that the channel is in danger of going away because we can't fund it anymore? The grift fucking continues. He gets a little spike back up in Patreon because, again, dangles his little cup, okay? Then, today, I get blessed with something amazing. When that shit went down with this little prostitution thing, his wife, who's basically dropping the dime on him now, and there's more stuff coming. Let's go through. I have all the correspondence between him and her. So let's go through. Let's take a look at some of the things he says to his wife. All right, so let me put my fucking glasses on here. At this point, I guess they're basically communicating through letters or email. He says to her, thank you for your letter. I'm hoping that communicating in writing we can make progress that was proven impossible by communicating verbally, because it's clear from your letter that either you haven't been listening to me or you have failed to understand things I have expressed to you, which in every which way, sometimes over many hours of agonizing, emotionally draining dialogue. So then what he does is he defines for her in bullet print what compulsive behavior and gaslighting is. This horrible guy is the essence of gaslighting. What he does is he convinces people that they're crazy. He is an ex-JW elder who has learned how to control people, specifically his wife, And it's one of the things that I've hated about the, I'm in a good marriage and it's an equal partnership. But what I didn't like about the JW religion was that it kept women suppressed. Like, you are not to have a say in things at all. You can do your number 3 talk or whatever the fuck they call it. So they bring up that about them being involved, or him telling her, I want an ENM. I didn't know what ENM was, right? And I had to look it up because I'm not a fucking pervert. I don't know this shit. ENM stands for ethically non-monogamous relationship. So what he starts doing here in this plethora, there's an hour's worth of dialogue back between the two of them, where he is telling her that they're sexually incompatible, which I found out from sources. One of the things that he wanted that she did not want was anal sex. Okay, so whatever, you can fucking call me a liar, but I don't need to prove the receipts on this shit because this guy's horrible. She asked him to show him what porn he enjoys so they can get closer together so she can know what he's into. Then he starts yelling at her about this. He says, our core issue is not trust. As I see it, our core issue is, and he has 3 points. He has to do the little fucking dots, just like the end of the Watchtower when we have to do a review. Our relationship is sexually compatible. I have a greater need for sex in my life than you do. You are not ready, and apparently you never will be ready for an open marriage. So this guy, I don't even know where to go, but you know what, man? This shit's all fucking just hitting online now. She says, over the years, I tried to ignore my instincts, my gut, and all the little signs. It never left me the feeling that something was off. But for the sake of our family, I tried to ignore it. So this guy, oh my God, the stuff that he says. Thank you for admitting that, at least to some extent, you were involved in a deception and see the need to perpetuate a dysfunctional personal relationship for the greater good of our family, at least up until now. This means you should be able to relate to the way I handle matters, at least on some level. Now, mind you, this is the guy that's, I need your money to continue to tell you how to live, to make videos to expose Watchtower, so I can destroy my fucking wife and my fucking family. Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't even know where to begin. Wait, okay, so here's the next thing. She says, only other day in the car, we were talking about liars, and I believe you remember what you said about liars and hypocrites. I can't skip over 15 years of lying in a matter of a few days. He says, I have explained the reasons for my lying, both verbally on multiple occasions and above. I deeply regret my lies and the fact that I felt forced to lie. But I believe you're referring to me talking about the lies of the governing body and the cult. And he says, basically saying, I'm upset about the child sexual abuse in the Watchtower. So again, he's taking the blame off himself, throwing it on her. And she says, the trust was vanishing with each little clue I found. And you telling me it's all in my mind, or there's nothing going on. This is where the gaslighting comes in. He's going to convince, and so this is his response to her. Some of your paranoias were genuinely in your mind. It's important to remember that you are a naturally paranoid person. You're paranoid about mice. You're paranoid about electricity. So now what he's doing is he's taking the thing that she was nervous about, the paranoia about his disgusting lifestyle outside of the marriage, and now attaching it to her legitimate paranoias, which is electricity, mice, or whatever. This motherfucker goes on and on and on. He's so wordy, and every response that I see in this letter, she's so nice. Everything she's saying, I get it. Like, my heart would break if this was my wife saying this to me. She says, I had the right to know about your activities to protect myself. Had I known, I would never have given you unprotected things, especially since you were so against testing for STDs. Had I known, I probably would have sooner entered into an open relationship just to find someone to fill my needs instead of being sexually and emotionally deprived for years. Here's what this motherfucker says, okay? He is, so he's going to prostitutes. He's using the Patreon money from his channel to go and fuck, I'll say girls. That's a generic term, but right. He says, STDs are always a risk when having sex with unknown partners, whether condoms are used or not. If I have never had penetrative sex or even a blowjob without anyone else without a condom, okay. There has only been one occasion where I feared I had an STD and I went and sought medical attention for it. Perhaps you remember. You know, you probably just said you had a cold, you know, and came back with penicillin. I was like, yeah. Whenever we had unprotected sex on the extremely rare occasions this has happened, I have been confident that my genitals are completely healthy. You know this is the way he wrote, because he wrote like that in that fucking book. I would not have pursued sex with you otherwise. I object to you twisting, mischaracterizing my words. That's where the gaslighting happens. Him defining gaslighting and then him using that technique is exactly what a fucking manipulative elder that we all dealt with, what they do. If there was no sexual element to our relationship, I think it's unreasonable to expect me to get tested, even in cases where I consider myself healthy. Even though we're not having sex, and that is no threat to you, this is what I try to convey to you, and that is my position on STD testing. This, I don't even, you know what? I tried recording a video earlier because it just got belabored. There is so much. This is the most horrific thing, and the way he manipulates this woman throughout this whole conversation and just keeps convincing her that she is absolutely fucking insane. And everything she says in here is like a sad, sad woman that's trying to just keep a roof over her head for her kids and doesn't know what to do. She says, the issue is being in the room with you and feeling alone. Like your screen is always more important. We mostly talk about the cult and the XJW stuff. There is so much more in me, in my mind and my passions that you were simply not interested. So let's see what this motherfucker says to that, which is such a sad thing coming from a woman. He says, what you're doing here is raising the fact that I am a workaholic and conflating that with our sexual incompatibility. As I see it, there are two completely different issues. You have known for years that I am a workaholic, and we have talked about it openly. Yet you have persisted with our relationship and been quite happy to reap the dividends of my uneven work-life balance financially. It's quite manipulative of you to try to merge the two issues in your efforts to muster a case against me and make me feel inadequate. You know, I don't even... Again, I deleted the video that I made earlier because it went on forever. It is so heartbreaking seeing another human being, his wife with 2 kids, and the shit that he has done and the things that he says to her in this, and it goes in to where he is talking about pressuring her. They're going back and forth where he wants them to be in an open relationship, and she backed out of it, and she's like, she didn't feel right. And then he said that he betrayed her. You know, basically, how dare you? We had an agreement. We were going to do this, and I was going to do this and do that. They said they went out to some club, and I guess he had encouraged her to try to find somebody while he was going to find somebody, and they didn't. And so she said that she was, wait, maybe this might be this. Yeah, I showed, yeah, where she said she was scared, and he's blaming her that they did not find extra partners. Apparently this is the first time. And he says there's very obvious manipulation, distortion of the facts here, whether you know you're doing it or not. Again, the problem you have is that it's in writing. You obviously didn't try to E&M ethically, fucking non-monogamous. You bailed after just a few hours and without either of us meeting anyone. What you describe as showing hesitance, I describe as ripping up an agreement we agonized over for days, rendering all communication essentially void and meaningless. Under those circumstances, any frustration on my part was entirely justifiable. And if I was so interested in your feelings, I would have gone to somebody else regardless. I didn't. I canceled my plans. This goes on for fucking hours. I don't have time for it. If you're giving Lloyd Evans, let me put my glasses back on because my eyes hurt. If you're giving Lloyd Evans money, if you're continuing to fund this piece of shit, if you don't do the research on this guy, I mean, like I said, it goes on for hours and hours. What he has done to his wife, what he's done to his family, what he's done to his kids, and the way he manipulates you, go fuck yourself.